let's go to the poll just to get going, okay? Just for the day. Why do I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those webinars that goes a little long today so we can get everything in that Terri had, because boy, did we prepare for today. If there's one thing that my team knows well and is really good at is crisis messaging, crisis tone. How do you adapt your tone during a time when you need to both be relevant and you need to sound like you know what's going on? How many people sent out an e-blast saying everybody's working from home and following COVID guidelines? Well, that was just silly, right? I mean, didn't everybody say they were getting emails from every distribution list they'd ever gotten in their lives? And then you'd watch the people whose social media just ran as if they'd loaded it in the beginning of the month and never turned it off. They just kept it going with exactly what they were talking about before. It took some companies a week or two to catch up, and really it shouldn't. Really, when you know you're in crisis, you stop your auto social media and you start to adjust. And then some have caught up and some still haven't. Think about, for example, on the television right now, you look at the commercials and all of the commercials somehow relate to what's happening. And the ones that don't just sound funny and they look funny. And if anything, they stand out like this just doesn't make sense right now. So while Terri hopefully continues to figure out her technical challenges, which is super unfortunate. If we do have to end up rescheduling, we will, because this is a really good one today. But let's go to our poll, because I think what's really important is how are people faring right now? We have a large audience on today, and how many people are managing well from home? I mean, I love it. I know my team doesn't love it. I know that there are benefits to being collaborative and together, but I also think there's a lot of benefits to working from home when it comes to flexibility and ability to do things quickly and not have the entire commute. For a lot of people, it's working well for now.
I'm on and she's not. Is that what's happening?
Are you in?
I'm back.
Okay, great. Well, let me just finish up this one piece, because I was saying about it working well for now. As I'm watching the news, I'm really concerned that this working from home is going to be for a while, or maybe we're going in here and there for some meetings. But I think we've really got to be prepared for this being the way it is for a while, and for a lot of us, and if not for everybody, for a lot of people. And then there's the people that just can't wait to get back to the office. So right now we're
but even going back, Lisa, as you know, and I know, even if you were to walk back into your office tomorrow, it's not quite the same. How do you, especially for companies, everyone's working from home if they can.
Yeah.
How do you now pretend like, oh yeah, now we all have to be here? Like, we've seen another reality, and I don't know that you can come back from that reality. It's not on us to change reality, is my point. My point is, are you positioned? Because you can't just do business as usual anymore. We can't pretend that what we've done, we'll just go back and do that again. No. And the fear is that everyone's sitting on their hands waiting to just come back and be different. And, I'll just catch up then.
Terri, should we jump into something like, speaking on tone for something super relevant right this second? The reality is you're going to have technical glitches when you work from home too. And just like what we have here, where we prepare and we have everything ready and we go live, and suddenly there's some challenges, and I've just got to keep going, right? But that could happen in your presentation for work too. And I think that's something that we all have to sort of roll with and be prepared for and be ready for, is that if somebody's technical side goes down, you just got to roll. You know, Lynn just commented, Lynn is a video film pro. I produce videos for nonprofits. My new reality is yet to be determined. Maybe it's helping the rest of us who are trying to do video online, Lynn.
Oh my God. What do you mean? The world is still video. This is the great democratizer. Everyone from Jimmy Fallon to Anderson Cooper to you, all of our shows look the same. There's no more high production value stuff. I mean, we might go back to that. We might hunger for that. But right now, what we're doing here is the same quality that Seth Meyers has when he does a closer look. It's the same. And that means then we're only paying attention to talent. It's really leveling everyone. And it is the great democratizer in that sense. So if you're a video producer, go ahead, Lisa.
Yes, my mom called me last night and she was like, come watch Halle Berry's on. And she was like, she's so cool. She's not super fixed up. My mom was commenting to me on the demeanor of all the guests and how different they were doing this on the videos like this. And they were so much more personable in themselves. And I thought, wow, if that's coming from my mom, that's the general public. That's how they're seeing this, is that people are just more authentic right now. But again, we're a little tighter on time because of this. So Terri, I want you to really jump in and talk about what we need to be thinking about, because we are in what we're calling the halftime, right? Mid-crisis messaging, and people are just starting to catch up. and
Yeah,
adapt.
well, it's too late to hit the COVID note. That you don't want to be a COVID cliche. And in any of your messaging, I'm talking about your corporate emails, your personal emails. Like we all know what we're all going through. We kind of like, that's a good thing camaraderie wise, but there is a COVID cliche now where you say certain things and you let all your customers know that you're working from home and that you're implementing additional security measures. This is all BS. Stop it. Stop it with the 7-letter words. Stop it with the over formality. What this is what Seth Godin would say is an industrial age hangover. It's this belief from the time when corporations kept us safe that we, in an effort to feel safe and stable and everything's fine, sound like corporations. But that doesn't work anymore because we're not in an industrial era anymore. We are in the connection economy. Everything happening this way with tech glitches. Even Howard Stern, who I listen to every day, he was interviewing Paul McCartney and his sound went out and no one could hear him. And he was like, yeah, we're having some problems. Roll with it. If Stern can deal with it, we can deal with it. But my point is, how are you talking to the people that you most want to influence, impact, impress? And are you going to like, well, that's not going to work. You don't want to sound like you're from 1955s. So there's stuff that you do and how you'll talk about it. And everyone's kind of like, well, during these times, like stop with we're past that now. So now you have to talk like a human. And believe me, it is not as easy as it sounds, which is why so few people do it. But I've seen example where I'm like, yawn, like a full page of 10-point font on a white page. It's telling everyone all the procedures they're doing. No one woke up this morning wondering how you were doing your work. And no one cares. What they care about is how you're serving them. And as we come out of this, as Lisa and I have discussed endlessly, when we come out of this, you do have to level up in a different way. You can't go, but I need to see body language, but I need this. You don't need anything anymore but an internet connection. And that's it. So if everyone has the same thing and everyone has the same production value, how do you stand out? How do you come back getting that kind of recognition?
And I think that one of the things we've talked about a lot this week, and Terri and I talk just about every day about all of this. It's been actually really fun, the yin and the yang of how we're managing our clients and what we're saying and what we're doing. But there's no new normal. This is the new normal. What we're going into is a new economy, right? There's going to be a completely new way of doing business and what we're going to do and what businesses thrive and what businesses don't. And we need to be thinking about who we are in the new economy. We have to reinvent ourselves. And that's a big part of what you want to talk today about too. Let me just real quick, I'm closing out this poll because I just want to jump to the really important ones. It's working pretty well for now is 46%. That's the highest I've seen in a long time. And working from home is down today. So that's been a theme this week. We're going to close this one out and we're going to open a new one, which is, let's go jump back a little bit to the last time Terri was on. Do you feel your video calls are getting more effective? Yeah, no, or my team still needs a crash course in effective video meetings?
Probably,
a real mix of this. And I've been taking Terri's advice of like, you just get on, you get into your agenda. Do you find that people have this like lag at the end? Like they're not really sure how they want to.
They don't know how to end it. People
or
don't know how to start. They don't know how to manage expectation, how long it'll be, and they don't know how to get off, end it. And the little things like, people are like, let's just get on and check in. No one wants to do that. One of the biggest complaints people have had for how long was how many meetings, pointless meetings people have. And still, this is a bad habit of ours. So keeping things focused, tight, boom, on and off. You want to be seen as someone who uses other people's time effectively, not that you deserved a better room, because we don't know when we're going to be back in a room again. So being able to use people's time effectively, being able to be dynamic without reading their body language. By the way, I think that's a load of bull because I've seen enough speakers speak, even professional speakers. There's everyone giving them all kinds of body language. They don't change a thing. They just do what they do. So this idea that you're always improvising with the audience, I don't know that people are all the time, but how to make an impression on camera is now an absolute job requirement. You can no longer say, well, I'm not good at that. I don't do that. Oh, you better do it. Because here's the thing, Lisa said this to me a lot too, is when you're coming back into this new economy, the only way to get the attention, if we're all toiling in our homes for a couple more weeks, months, how do you raise your level? How do you elevate who you are in the eyes of other people? You need to show your work. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. Oh no, I'll just sit here quietly toiling away until someone taps me to be a leader. Nope, that's never happening. If someone asks you to step up, then it's already overdue and you probably should have seen the signal to do it yourself. But your ability to take initiative. And one other thing, Lisa, and I'll say this with pivoting, I get a lot of my own business from public speaking and going to places and flying all over and meeting with people. And yeah, that went away for me too. You pivot and you figure out, what do people need now? I'll give you a very quick example. A woman emailed me and she was like, I'm a fashion consultant. I help people in person, dress them, shop with them. I can't do that now. And how am I going to make money? And I was like, okay, but you still have a skill. She goes, here's my emails that I've been doing. And I took a very quick look at them. Her emails were like, here's a recipe for this and here's how to relax. Everyone thinks they're now a life coach around COVID. Stop being people's COVID life coach and instead figure out how your need serves. How about, what she should do, and I should tell her this, is how to dress from the waist up for your virtual life. How are you looking on camera? Pivot. She still has the same skill. She knows fashion. She knows clothing. She knows how to customize it. If you depend on going to the mall with someone, you're out of business. So Terri, that need is still there.
Another idea for her would be, everybody's been cleaning out their closets, right? And to be honest, I was looking at how much stuff I have in my closet.
Yes.
Be on video saying, but try this with this now and put this with this, or you're never going to wear that, get rid of it, right? She could
do virtual consulting
right now.
Of course you can. Of course she could do that.
But then there's also, who do people think you are? Because the other thing that I've heard a lot from people is, without the conference room, somebody can't make that entrance. So we always go into the team and you're used to one person being the goalie and one person being the quarterback and one person being this. That's all leveled out. So now that big personality can't control the room the way they used to, because we're all in video in the same squares.
That's right.
Who do you want to be? And another thing that I've been talking to people about is, everybody's on your LinkedIn, everyone's on your bio, everybody's looking at who you are. Have you even updated that in 5 years? How old is that picture? And in the new economy, who do you want to be? And that's a lot of, again, that messaging right now is repositioning yourself and repositioning your company with a whole new message about what value, exactly what Terri's talking about, what value are you providing to people now? Not in January, not in a bull market, but now. Even if you've got a company that's going to take off, you've still got to speak to that. And who are you in that company and what value do you bring to that person?
It's really critical. And that's right. I love that idea of like, there's no big shot. Everyone's the same tiny square. Everyone is the same. It's just about time. And I want to address a question Joe brought up about losing aptitude while working from home, the tendency to drift mentally. If you think that because you were in an office before, I don't mean you, Joe, specifically, but being in an office made you a worker. No one works 8 hours a day. Working straight, you always need breaks and buffers. We still have those rhythms, but you need to find points of engagement in your day where you can do the best work and most work, and then times you don't. I don't work at this level that I'm bringing to you right now. I can't do that 8 hours straight. I would fall over dead. I do, after this, I'm going to lay on the couch and just to be like, oh, okay. Like, we need that. It's okay to drift a little but if you're talking about losing aptitude, that's like what I'm hearing is apathy or letting your body and mind sort of go to mush. You've got to find things that keep you curious and keep you engaged. And the best way to do that is to find out where your skill set meets the needs of other people. And that's critical. Lisa and I talk about it all the time. I know what you're thinking, that if we're saying you need to show your work, you need to show what you're doing, that means you have to be a kind of show off, or that you have to be a marketing person. And like, yes, Lisa's a marketing person. I never worked in marketing, by the way, but I have found myself in that lane based on the work that I do as a brand advisor and someone who crafts people's messaging. And I will tell you, I will bring it back to this. I did a TEDx talk. No one knows me. No one's looking for me. And that talk just crossed over the 6 million views mark. And not because I'm special and not because I'm smarter or better, nothing. It's a message that hits home. It served the needs of the person who saw it. So I'm not special that way. Every one of you has something that you need to share and level up. And Lisa would say, get out there and show people. But I know that's uncomfortable. Lisa, we have to address that. But that's like saying, because I don't like the way the band Kiss looks, I'm never going to wear makeup. Well, I mean, there's a whole range between what Kiss wears and what you wear. And if you think that self-promotion, which is an ugly word, no one wants to be seen that way. But if you think showing your work if you don't think that that's important, then you will find yourself being passed over. And that is a concern.
Real quick, do you feel video calls are getting more effective? 72% are saying yes, 9% are saying no, 19% my team needs a crash course. The next one, we got one more poll. think new economy. So we want to shift you again back into that personal brand. And are you going to come back bigger than you left? Because you need to. So yes, absolutely. I'm going to light the world on fire. Yikes, not even sure what that means yet. And no, but really want to learn how. So I'm starting that poll now. So another thing we've seen with our clients are the ones who don't want to talk, right? So, well, we need to think about that. You were best place to work. You were always a industry leader. You were a thought leader. All these things that we've put you out there. And that means you need to be a leader in the tough times too. And so we've really encouraged our clients to be out there, even if it's to say very high level things, but to be somebody that could be counted on and that could be out there as a face for their company. It also says it sends a message to their clients and it sends a message to their employees. Like, I'm not slowed down. I'm not stopped. We have something to say. And so that's another important piece of that. You just might need to rework what you're saying. And that's an important part of this whole company message or personal message.
Well, and Lisa and I obviously align on this. We see this the same way. And based on the response we got last time, just to something as simple as virtual calls and how we're trying to, address and connect with people, we were like, wow, I'd like to come back. And she was like, even better, let's find a way to serve people at a higher level and give people something that can help them accelerate this, because it's not enough to can yourself like prunes and wait until it's time to open in a month from now, right? There's work you can be doing now and ways to think about what you're doing. So Lisa and I have put together something that we thought could be of interest to this crowd. I do want to address one question. How do you do that without coming across as smarmy or like you're taking advantage of this awful time when people are getting sick? Taking advantage? Honey, I don't even know what you mean by that. But if anything you're doing in the world feels smarmy, then I encourage you to revisit what you're doing. But we all have work to do. The person who like stocks shelves to make sure everyone has enough, bread doesn't go, well, I should really be in the ER. No, everyone has their job to do. What someone said to me is, do not participate in the recession. That means you don't question that because you're not a doctor, that your work isn't worthwhile. Taking advantage, look at it as serving. Does a firefighter say, oh, that fire, I'm going to be taking advantage of the fire to prove how tough I am with my big hose? No, that's the job. That's the job. How are you serving?
Teresa makes the comment here that used to be a stereotype that people from home weren't working. I do think that depended on the company and the industry, because a lot of industries, people were working from home. I don't think that's the case now. I do know that we've had a tremendous shift, that we're not 9 to 5, that we're when we need to work. And what we're learning from a culture standpoint is how to adjust that in the balance. The other one I just want to comment on is that Marie had a good point that people are talking out more because you don't have this same kind of hierarchy of being in a conference room, and there's more chit chat because of social aspect. Now, I can see that in calls all the time. I can see the person who is craving social interaction because they're keeping us on the phone. They're wanting to chit chat and talk. I think where we have to balance that out is, when is that appropriate and when is it not? That would be kind of like thinking about midday. Like, I could really use a cocktail, but we're not pulling it out for the 3:00 meeting, right? We're waiting. Right? No, I'm serious, So we have to think about whether that chit chat is appropriate for that meeting. And that's where I go right back to Terri saying, what's the agenda? What are we doing? For our agendas, one of the things we've been really big on is just timing them out. That from 1 to 1:05, we're going to cover this, 5 to 10, this, and it helps the team stay on track. And then when we're done, people are comfortable saying, up and we're good, time to go. We'll keep on track. Have a great day.
Right, exactly.
So I want to switch back. We're going to go a little long today because we started late.
Let me switch gears. We're going to move into our next thing. Okay. But I want to point to Cheryl's thing about marketing, because a lot of people get squirrely around marketing because they think it's like taking advantage of things. People who have ruined that are bad marketers. But I will quote Seth Godin again, who says, marketing isn't something a company uses to cover its own needs. Marketing is something a company uses to solve other people's needs. So it's the attitude with which you approach marketing. It's not whether marketing is a bad idea or self-serving. We all need to, it doesn't help anyone if you're out of business, especially you. Right. So if it's right with you, Lise, I'm going to share my screen now.
Yep. Did you see the last poll? 55% of the people that are watching are going to light the world on fire. 17% don't know what that means yet. 20%, 8% will learn how. So Terri and I are going to go into a little bit of another mode, but she's got something that's
I want to share something with you because I wanted to be able to show it to you. Something that Lisa and I have been talking about for a while, and now you can see my screen. And I can no longer see you guys. So Lisa, just pop in and tell me if you need something, because I can't see you anymore.
Okay, I can see you. That's odd.
Or text me if you can't hear me, because I could be gone and I'd never know.
Okay.
So here's the thing. In light of all of this, in light of really thinking about how you're going to level up, when and if we return to life, it's going to be different, right? It's going to be all this. It's going to be a whole new world, except not as fun as a trip on a magic carpet ride. It's just not, but it is going to be completely different. And the question is, who will you be on the other side of this? How will your work change and evolve? And it will. And more importantly, how will the world see you? Are you letting them see you? This is Aladdin in a thoughtful pose, which I thought was very fitting. So here's how you think. There's a lot of you out there who are professionals, executives. You run your own business. You're in someone else's business. Doesn't matter. A business leader is someone who does these things, right? Makes money. They know how to sustain growth. They manage a team. They master the what. You do your job. A thought leader, and we don't necessarily call ourselves thought leaders, but the reason this exists, these are the people who challenge our assumptions. They start movements. They make us think about things differently. They point at the why. You don't have to choose one or the other. But when I say show your work, what it means is showing me what you think about what you do, not just what you do. You don't get gold stars anymore for just doing your work. Going above and beyond and actually helping someone else change the way they think, that's what a leader does. I want to tell you this story, Lisa. I told her a little bit about this, and I was like, this is a great example to show. Here's one man who emerged from a different crash, and in so doing, changed everything for himself. I don't know if you know him, but I just learned about him recently. His name is Marcus Sheridan. He's been around. Was the owner of River Pools and Spas, and he was basically the pool guy. He's a pool installation guy. You want a pool? Marcus, come over and set it up. And then 2008 happened. And by
Do you know, Terry, all I was worried about for the longest time was 0809. I was like, I have to make sure that we're prepared in case an 0809 happened.
Yeah,
I didn't know
it happened.
So I think it's interesting that you relate back to 09 because we were all like, oh my God. And, but we all felt like this is a little different.
This is exactly why I pulled this example. So by early 2009, people were withdrawing their deposits. He was on the brink of ruin, and he would sit at his computer every night, Googling how the F to save my own butt. He was not tech savvy. He barely knew how to Google. He was not a writer, but he started blogging because what he heard was content marketing. Okay, fine. That was kind of in the middle of the beginning of all of that. What he said was, I decided to act like a swimming pool consumer instead of an installer. And he didn't know, he's not a content strategist. He just said, what's every question I've ever gotten when I install a pool, when I go sit with someone for an hour and a half to talk to them about it, and they may or may not buy? What if I wrote down those questions and the answers? And he wrote up hundreds, and he posted each one individually as a blog. That tactic got him so much visibility, he landed himself in the New York Times for doing one thing, answering questions, not promoting, not telling everyone he was the best. In fact, he became such a source of content that when asked to rate his local pool installers, he listed them and did not include himself. Why? Because the minute he put himself on that list, he knows people wouldn't believe him anymore. What is he today? He's not installing pools anymore. Today, Marcus, the pool guy, is an author, a keynote speaker, and a web marketing guru. He went from not being able to Google a few years ago to rock star status, selling books, speaking for a living. He sold most of that company. He still blogs. He is not installing a single pool. You can't get this guy to do it. So you don't have to be Marcus, but out of that, he rose like a phoenix, right? Mm-hmm. Based on very little skill, just a desire to save his own butt. There is nothing self-serving about that. It's survival. So what could you do next?
The survival was that he helped other people. He answered
service. That's right.
He shifted, he pivoted what he was doing. Not why should I do a pool, but this is what you want to know.
And not why are we the best
of the new economy. He was every single person needs to be in going forward. Go ahead.
He wasn't saying, here's why we're the best and you need to hire us. Everyone thinks that that's what branding is. No, it's being of service. Mm-hmm. So he wrote the foreword to the book Utility, which is actually a fantastic book. So right now, when you see that and you go, okay, well, what am I going to do? How can I bounce back from this? How can I emerge even better than before? So maybe your wheels are turning and you're thinking about what's next for you and how you could position yourself for that. You'd love to come out of this ready to serve at a higher level and achieve at a higher level. There's nothing wrong with that. There's just a lot of ways to do it. And you could sit there and Google all the ways. But wouldn't it be easier if there was a door you knew you could walk through and get what you needed? What if you could identify your edge? Really, what makes you different? And don't tell me there isn't something different, because there is. There's not one person I've worked with who doesn't have something different about them. Mm-hmm. What if you could better position yourself for what's next? You know your industry, you know what you need to do, but you probably talk yourself out of a lot of reasons why, I shouldn't do that right now. Now's not the time. Now's not the time. Wrong. Up-level your brand and online presence. And that's important, because just because you have a LinkedIn profile does not mean you have a brand presence.
Well, no, and Terri, with that, I know that you're on a roll, and I keep sort of cutting you off on this, but over and over and over, we have many, many clients, and that could be the company client and then the people that work within the clients. And we talk about LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is generally the first place people go to look for you in business. And that's before your company website and before other places.
Sure.
And complete control over that LinkedIn. It doesn't matter if you work for Google. It doesn't matter if you work for whomever, right? That is yours. And that LinkedIn is your brand. And you
trust me. I'm not saying
other companies. But no, I'm saying to come at this level, these are the basics of what you have to look at is, what are you telling the world about who you are?
Just because you have a foot on LinkedIn. I see people who they have one line, they just list the jobs, there's no photo. You are missing an opportunity. Like, LinkedIn is everyone's Rolodex. You must live there. But having just a foot there doesn't mean are you posting things? Are you sharing things? There's got to be running water. You don't want to be a stagnant pool. And so there's a lot of ways to up level where you are inside of that and return at a higher level than when we all pieced out over a month ago. The goal here isn't just to be relevant. Relevant is, please, the floor of this. We better be relevant, but it's not just about being relevant. It's about being a force to be reckoned with. And I don't mean you have to destroy things or disrupt or take people apart unless you want to, but you have to be something that people cannot avoid seeing. Mm-hmm. And with that, Lisa and I would like to announce the introduction of something totally new and different that we've never done together before. And it's called Emerge. It's a new 2-part program for experts, executives, and entrepreneurs, and anything in between, who want to leverage their experience, level up their presence, and lead the way in a new economy. Now,
I'm sorry, Terri, I know I keep getting in here, but this really came from, and I was a little hesitant to go into it like a sales pitch on the webinar, but this came from how much feedback we got from Terri's last presentation and how much we've been doing in our own company, where people that are working for, again, maybe our clients or work for another company, are coming to us directly and saying, what do I do? And how do I?
What do I do? That's right.
Yeah. And I might be a job. I might be a partner in a firm, but now I have to completely reposition who I am for relevancy. There's such a great leveling out. And this is where Terri and I have been talking about our best practices and how do they come together to help people reposition themselves as they come out into the new economy. So
that's
Terri,
right. I'd like to point back to Cheryl. Yes, I'm making an offer on a free webinar for something that has nothing to do with supporting people suffering from a disease. But this is what we know how to do. And this is how we know to serve. So this is the obvious place where I would want to invite you. You're the people who show up for this stuff. You're the perfect people to share it with. And we're really excited about it. Now, what's happening is it's 2 half days, 4 to 8. It's a weird time maybe, but we know you're very busy during the day with calls. And the evening, things kind of quiet down. And it's just 2 days. And the idea is that you invest deeply here in this time and be able to come out with something that you wouldn't have on your own. Yeah. The word emerge, I loved, because it's to become prominent, important, and known. It's not to kill other people off and beat people at the end. It's about literally these balloons rising up out of a thing and being able to be seen. Now, during this is really not a webinar the way you're experiencing this now. What this is a laser-focused, high-touch experience. I run things like this all the time, very intimate, small group where we can see everyone. We're all there together. And on this, you'll have the chance to work on positioning your expertise, actually do the work during this conference, bust through creative blocks, think through branding and communication strategies that you can actually start using now. Develop an action plan to move your work into the world, the new world. What you get and what it looks like are, as I said, 2 full tilt half days where you're actually working. You're not just sitting and taking notes. We'll have some presentation and some where you're doing the work right there. And of course, discussion. It's a laser focused, intimate, high touch experience and a very safe, supportive space to explore your work. This is what I do for a living now. It's taking up all of my time.
Right? Terri, this is a small group.
And it's a small group, very safe because you're going to be
other
stuff.
And when I think about all this and all the things that we need to do to be better, right? I want to actually go back to, if you watched Stacey Wells earlier this week, she owns L'Esprit Academy out in Michigan. And one of the things that she tells her team, and I love this one, is you don't always have to be perfect, but you have to deliver on the promise. Right. And so as you're developing your new self and your new brand, what is that promise? Because people need to trust people right now. They're trusting people with their companies and with their brands. And yes, for you to do something and you need to deliver a promise, what is that? And then deliver on that promise. But you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be Richard Branson branding. You just have to be out there as something and somebody that people know and can deliver.
Okay, let's tell them what else they get. So you get those 2 half days, right, in a very intimate space where you're actually interacting with us and each other, plus 2 individual private one-on-one consulting sessions, one with Lisa and one with me. And I am including the Tap to Speak online program, which I created to help people craft talks. That's for you when and if you want to use it, when you have talks coming up and virtual talks too, how to shape and think through that. Plus, you get a professional branding audit of your bio and social media profiles, which Lisa does for a living. Now, what it looks like. First, you meet with me. And anyone who's doing this, we're meeting before this. Now, this is happening May 6th, so I'm meeting with you soon. So I get you really prepared so you get the most out of the work we'll do together. Then, day 1, dive in. You're going to learn an approach to generating ideas and feedback. It's an approach I'm certified in, which you're going to get to do right there without judgment or criticism, which is important. You cannot create when you feel shut down. Plus, you're going to gain insights and confidence into your unique brand of expertise and leadership and receive the kind of feedback you need and probably never got. Now, day 2, we move it out. So we dove in first, then we move it out.
Because a lot of times if you do this within your own company, they're also going to help you develop your brand and who you are within the space of their company. And right now, you may want to be thinking about it in the space of who
bigger.
You are,
That's right.
I want to be experimenting with ideas and things and brand that you might not say to your boss. You might not say to the marketing person in your company.
That's critical. Right.
Yeah. And that's where we're talking about outside of the company. So,
So learn how to advocate for your work and ideas. This is something I travel the country teaching people to do. How do you, and this I hear from women in particular, how do I get people to listen to me? And it often, they often get in their own way, in the way that they actually present what they're trying to say. So we're going to talk about that. You're going to strategize your brand presence and your next move, whether that's up or out. You're going to create an action plan for sharing your work and improving visibility. And then after the 2 days, you will meet with Lisa individually, and she will go through with you your mini, audit of your brand and action steps of what you're going to do next. It's time to explore where your work ends and you begin, because you are wound up with and integrated with the work you do, but you're not just your job and you're not just this title, right? There's a lot more to you, and never would your company really take the time to help you dig into that, because it may or may not be in their best interest. I think it is. Besides the fact, this is where you get to do that. Seth Godin says the linchpins, that's what you want to be, among us are not the ones born with a magical talent. They're the people who've decided that a new kind of work is important and trained themselves to do it. You are not your resume. You are your work. So what is the investment for this? Let me walk you through it. This is the value of it. I will show you the math. I did not do the math in my head. I actually used a calculator. 2 days of workshops. This is how, 2 private sessions, professional branding audit, blah, blah, blah. You add that together. That is how we came up with that number, because that Tap to Speak course was sold for $997. So that's why the number is what it is. It's weird. So it is, the value is that, but you're not paying that. The regular price for this is $5,000 for this 2 days and the consulting. But man, we want to do something special. So we're doing it for $39.50. Yeah, why not? This is the first run of this. I don't know that we'll offer this again. And that's the truth. We have to see where our need fits other people's needs. So let's review. 2 full till half days, high touch experience, 2 private sessions, access to the program, and a professional branding audit. This is what you need to dig in and move your work out into the world. and it's at a fraction of what this would be. Because let me tell you, and this is where you can go to apply. Now, Lisa, I want to just explain one thing to everybody here. One thing is that if you were to hire one of us to do any of this work with you, it would probably not be $39.50 to do it individually. It'd probably be more. You'd probably pay more than double that to work with both of us, right? This is packaged together. So we move the group through. You get independent help here, the group work, independent help on the other end. It's meant to hang together this way. And this is the only way we can even afford to do it, is to do it as a group. But it's a small group. So this is not a rack them in kind of thing. It's small, like a dozen, maybe less. We're not sure,
Right.
we'll see how it pans out here. But if you go to leadersemerge.com, that will forward you to the page. Lisa, a word about the applications. You do not have to submit your SAT scores. We do not want a big, long essay. What I want is to make sure this is a fit for you and a fit for us. Because one person who's there, who shouldn't be there, it will really change the experience for everyone. So you don't have to have a certain number of assets. You don't have to have anything fancy, but we really want to make sure you're a fit. And we have limited spots. So if you go to leadersemerge.com, you can fill out this very simple application, and then you submit payment for it. This is payment in full. It's either you have this money or you don't. And if you don't, then you can't do it right now. But you do it all at once, so then it's done. If for some reason we said you're the worst fit, you will hate this. This is not for you. We are not keeping people's money who are not a fit for this program. But when you apply, you are effectively committing to the program. Lisa, questions?
No, the only thing that I want to add is in that second day, and then when we do our one-on-ones, we really get to talk about where do you want to be and what is important to you in your career and where you want to get to next. I can't tell you how many times people have, oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, look at that. How many times people have called me that work for other companies and they say, I need to have more exposure in the industry so that my company sees me. My company, I want to make partner. My company needs to see me out here. And we work with them on the side. And it's not inexpensive to make sure that you're quoted in the paper and that you are now invited to panels and that you're prepared for those panels. We work through that media training, or what does it mean to be a panelist? How many times have we gone to an event where the moderator is so dry? But moderating, I have found moderating is an amazing way to meet people that would normally take my call. And now I have an hour of their time to talk about what is the most important thing that's part of their business. I learned that from moderating, which, by the way, I was trained to do by Terri Trespicio. So if
I love to moderate, it's fun. Lisa's great at it.
Yes, well, I'm great at it because you worked a lot with me about 6 years ago. And so people who know me in the industry know that I moderate a lot, I speak a lot, but that really was because Terri trained me and I work at it. And that's something that from a one-on-one basis, I can work with people directly on and help you just whatever it is in that tilt to get to that next level. And that's what we're excited about with this program.
We're really excited. We've never done something like this together. I mean, yeah, we know that there's people who need this and who go, yeah, I need to do that right now. And time, as much as we have like kind of all the time in the world, we also have no time, right? There's a lot of demands on your time. So we really are trying to design something that works for the busy person, the busy professional who's really looking to ramp up and wants to feel all in with this. That's the key.
I just put a question out. If anybody has any, because
we've any questions?
And I'm sorry about the technical glitches. And
well, what can we do?
I know, but we have a lot of people who've stayed on, despite the fact that we've now been talking about a product that we're offering. But is it?
Oh, I lost you.
We want to make sure that we're offering when we're. Did anybody have any sort of doing this? Like I said, we're excited about it. We developed this completely out of what people have been asking us for, and we're excited to work on things together. So, does anybody have any other questions? I know from closing out that last poll, it was that 28% want to learn how. They want to come back bigger than they were. And you know how we're going to do that.
I don't mind. You guys are our tribe. You're the people who have showed up for this. But this particular offer isn't for everyone right now. And we don't pretend that it is. If literally everyone wanted to be on it, we couldn't accommodate it right now. But we say this because this is going to get very meta for a minute. Mm-hmm. But Lisa and I would not have been talking about this if this whole world didn't go upside down. I'd be out at my events and she'd be at hers. So in a way, it's also a powerful lesson in how do you surface what you know and make it reachable for people.
Right. Right. You know, Terri, even when you've been working on this for the past week, because we've been working on what the program will be, it's been so great to just have each other to bounce off of what are your clients asking for? What are my clients asking for? What are the answers? What are the right answers? Looking at best practices, watching companies that are doing it right, watching who aren't. And then even with this webinar, the ability to test out what people are responding to and what they're not has been fascinating. I mean, it's been my own,
this is your own test.
Of what?
This has been your own test of like this show has been a test. It has been a test of let's see what people like. It's giving you insight into your business and sharpening up your skills as a host even more and giving a wonderful way to network with people. And it gave us the idea to do it. We're showing how things can click together. There's no reason that you can't do something similar, right? I mean, we have to think that way in order to consider ourselves contributors in some way.
So think about that. If you could be an attorney, you could be in commercial real estate, you could be in biotech, you could be in anything. We're all in the same space all over the world.
Yep.
So I think, Terri, we need to wrap it up. We're at 1 o'clock. And I really appreciate everybody staying and listening as long as they have. I hope
I'm going to say one thing. Everyone who's on this little thingy right here, I'm going to be in touch with you anyway. And it doesn't matter if this program is not for you, it's not for you, but we will stay in touch because I'm always giving content and information, insight, and I would love to be able to connect with you too. So don't hesitate. And I also am very appreciative of Lisa and her team for making it possible for me to be here again. So thank you for that.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I just want you to know almost all of the webinars are now up on YouTube on the Nickerson channel. Please subscribe to the Nickerson channel and you will be updated every time we put a new one up. But they have been going up. We've been subtitling them. It took a little longer than we anticipated, but now they're all going up in force. So you can find all the past, webinars there. And I've really actually enjoyed rewatching them. It's one thing to be a participant to even get to rewatch them and learn different things from different people. So super excited about that. I do have to talk about Marla Schultz's tomorrow.
Oh, she's
Marla
great.
is another mutual friend. She is a stand-up comedian who started her career in news, and she was in news media forever, but she also opened up for Chelsea Handler for 2 years on tour. She's pretty amazing. She works with people to bring humor into what you do, whether it's your presentations, the way you talk to people. She believes that you can win anybody over if they laugh. If you can make them laugh, you got them. And so that's what she's teaching us tomorrow. We will be 25 minutes. We will be tight, and our tech will work perfectly.
Today was special.
Yeah, today was special, but I hope that you can all make it for Marla tomorrow. And thank you so much for bearing with us today. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.